Hello and welcome to the second ever episode of the Phoenix FC podcast. My name is Stephen Rhodes and with me is the wonderful Bilal Patel.
Hello, hello.
Also returning in his rocking chair is Keiran McHugh.
Yeah, thank God it got fixed. It broke last time. Ended up in A&E with a broken hip.
And joining the three of us is a former child, James Blackmore. Welcome to the show.
Thanks. I've grown up, I think. Maybe not.
Alleged former child.
Yeah, allegedly I've grown up.
What a weird world we're living in. Man United are winning and Liverpool are losing. What do we have to say about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a big swing since the October international break when United actually beat Liverpool at Anfield. I mean, Brian Mbeumo's finally found his shooting boots. And yeah, Amorim, he's got manager of the month for October. He seems to have found the formula.
And Mbeumo got player of the month, did he not?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
I feel like I'm a child again though, with Man United winning and Liverpool losing.
Yeah.
Takes me back to
Early
like,
2010s.
Yeah, all I need is like Alan Pardew in charge of Newcastle and a full squad of French players, and then I feel at home.
Yeah, when Cabaye running it back a couple of years.
Those are the days.
Barclays era.
Gabriel Obertan on the right wing, Loic Remy up front,
Loic Remy, bloody hell.
Mathieu Debuchy. Yes, take me back.
Arsenal still haven't won anything in both those eras, so I'm staying quiet.
Well, I was going to ask you about Arsenal. How are you feeling about them? Currently top of the table?
Thank God.
You think this is the year, Keiran?
Of course. I can't. it has to be the year.
Do you say that every year?
I say that every year, yeah. I think
Last 3 seasons. We've seen this script before.
If we don't win anything this year, I face in the words of the late Claude, God rest his soul, it's time to go.
Oh, no more Harambo.
No more Harambo. I think, they've known have a better chance. Liverpool are terrible. City just Haaland and vibes. Let's face it, United aren't met in a title challenge, and Chelsea are terrible. So, if it comes to challenge between us and Sunderland, and we lose it to Sunderland, then it's definitely time to go. I
mean, what a story if Sunderland were to keep this form going, because we saw Nottingham last season. They were in second, I believe, at one point, or at least third. They were up there, but then towards the end of the season they lost a bit of momentum. They fell to seventh perhaps. So it did look like they were going to get a Champions League place. Sunderland, can they keep it up?
No.
Well, James hopes not. James, of course, Newcastle fan.
I mean, I just think it's great to see the 3 promoted teams not just fall to the bottom like we've seen. Well, but I think for Sunderland they've sort of been like it's like almost like revelation. It's like, oh my gosh, where have they come from?
They have spent a lot though.
Yeah.
To be fair, I do think they've spent wisely.
Yeah, they've spent sense. That's the key. Is they've spent a lot, but they've not just thrown money at it. Like Burnley a couple of years ago.
Yeah, they
just
spent
threw money at it.
Yeah. Vincent
You know,
Kompany,
they
and
got-
he's doing well at Bayern now.
Forest did it as well, and just about survived.
Yeah.
That thing, but they've done it.
But it worked out for them last season, didn't it? And then this season, God knows what's happened with Forest.
Granit Xhaka being a good signing, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Probably the marquee.
I think Xhaka is the face of this new Sunderland. I think you can link a lot of the signings to the current form. So you've got Sunderland have made great signings. Look at where they are. Man United are on an upswing. You mentioned it just before, and Mbeumo finally getting in form. A lot of their signings clicking. I think Cunha's doing well. Sesko, I'm not too sure about.
He's injured now, but
you look at you look at less stronger teams at the moment. Liverpool not doing as well. Their signings, most notably, I think he's the face of signings, especially the window. Florian Wirtz. What do you think about his current form?
I mean, it's just the worst possible start.
I saw a start with this to interrupt about the fact that he's currently on track, or if he something like 200 minutes. Fabio, he currently got a worse rate than Fabio Vieira did at Arsenal. But yes, Fabio Vieira played 200 minutes more, but by this point he'd registered, I think it was 3 or 4 goals in the season.
Yeah.
So he's currently tracking to be worse than Fabio.
And Vieira ended up getting loaned out. So could we see the same with
Vieira
150 million Florian Wirtz?
He got sent. He's been loaned out to Hamburg and got sent off twice. So that's not a good comparison. But
I think the thing with Liverpool is obviously they've bought good players. Like they're not, like Wirtz isn't terrible, Isak isn't terrible, Ekitike's not terrible. But what they've done is they've disrupted what worked. So like obviously last year they had like Szoboszlai, McAllister and Gravenberch, and that worked because it had the good balance of going forward and dropping back, and then you could leave Salah up and Gakpo and then I think a lot of, even though he didn't score a lot and he missed a lot of big chances and a lot of fun was made of him, I think a lot of people underestimated how much Nunez did defensively and off the ball. I do think that's gone massively under the radar, and now you've got Ekitike and Isak who won't track back as much, who won't do the hard yards going backwards, won't do the hard yards going forwards necessarily as well. they're running behind, but they won't necessarily do a lot of the grunt work, as you'd call it, whereas Nunes would. And it means that Salah can't just get a free ride anymore. Like you saw at the weekend, he was Conor Bradley was so exposed on that right flank. Like Doku and O'Reilly ran rings around him because he had no cover from Salah. And in previous years, when you had 3 midfielders who were able to drop back in and help like that, you could get away with it. But when you've got Wirtz, who's more of attacking minded, they've lost that balance in midfield, and they're so exposed everywhere in defence. And their defensive weaknesses that probably got a free pass last year, Kanate, fullbacks, they've got away with it last year, and this year they've been massively found out. And I think that's why they're conceding. They're still scoring at a decent rate, but they're now conceding 1, 2, 3 a game instead of keeping a clean sheet and winning 1-0. They're losing 2-1 or they're drawing 2-2. And the late goals that they scored early in the season can't keep them afloat anymore.
Yeah, and you talk about the players they brought in, but the players are sold as well. You talk about Salah just sort of feeling isolated. If you think about all those years in the Klopp era, Trent Alexander-Arnold feeding Salah constantly. Even Luis Diaz being sold. He's another one like Nunes. He's sort of that hard worker off the ball, and you see him thriving at Bayern. So it's sort of like the egos have sort of gotten in the way in terms of the likes of Isak. Ekitike, I think, it's sort of been the shining spot out of all the signings, but
they keep chucking him in different positions.
Yeah,
because Isak initially wasn't firing, he was playing up front, and then he came in, and then now Gakpo's been dropped a bit. He's been pushed out to the left wing, and he's been really good, but he's never been given a free run in a certain position. And until the team is a bit more settled, they're never going to start winning games and playing sensibly.
I remember saying last time we recorded that I think Newcastle. I was thinking of Newcastle. I'm so sorry. Liverpool. Defensively, they were going to be in a shambles at the beginning of this year, and I remember saying it many times. Because you've signed 2 attacking fullbacks in Frimpong, who basically is a right midfielder, like face it.
Yeah.
And Mila Kirkesh, who liked to go forward a hell of a lot, and he's not been brilliant. And all of a sudden, they've found themselves with, as you said, this getting caught so much on the counter, and it's just been basically Virgil van Dijk and Prey.
But what they've also lost is Alexander-Arnold was very forward thinking, but he had that pass. Like he could turn defence into attack with
the transition.
Pass.
Yeah,
Frimpong doesn't have that. So they've as much as Liverpool fans will hate it, he's a downgrade on Alexander-Arnold in terms of the way they played. Not you can argue about other things about it, but in terms of the way Liverpool play, Frimpong is a downgrade on Alexander-Arnold. And then I think on the other side, I don't think Kirkesh is necessarily a massive positive.
He doesn't fit their system, I don't think.
Yeah.
Because sort of when they build out from attack, it's either the left back or the right back going forward, and Kirkesh wants to be bombing down that left side.
You saw him like the one that stands out, the moment for him that stands out last year was that goal away at Tottenham.
Yeah, the cross.
Yeah, where they broke out quickly. He ran 20 yards without it, got it, ran 40 yards with it to the halfway line. I think played a 1-2, ran another 40 yards with it, and then put in a beauty of a cross for Semenyo at the back post. It was like, and that's the way he likes to play going forward, whereas he's not as good with the ball at his feet doing that sort of slower build-up, which a lot of teams are forcing Liverpool to do because they're just sitting back against them. And so I don't think in general, and then obviously Robertson wasn't massively great at that either, but he's a better defender. So I think with Kirkesh is you don't necessarily get his attacking benefits in the Liverpool system, and then his weaknesses are also being put on show. And so I think generally the players they've brought in, as I said earlier, the players they've brought in are good, but they don't necessarily fit the way Liverpool are playing at the moment. And then the way Liverpool, maybe Slot is trying to change the way Liverpool are playing, but he's not got it right, and he's not quite got the players to do it. And I think I don't know, it's just not working across the board for them. They're not scoring enough to cover the defensive leakages, and I just think they're a bit all at sea.
I just go back to the point about the midfield as well. They like to kind of pass the way through sometimes, and I think if I go back to the game against Arsenal, but worse Mosley scored a very good free kick, but you go to Salah. Calafiori was all over the pitch in that game, and yet he still had time to get back, and whenever Salah got, he didn't get past him because it took so long to release Salah. With a half-competent left-back, he got back and was easy enough to mark him out of the game, despite also being in the midfield and wherever the bloody hell else he was going to be. So, adding Florian Wirtz into that hasn't. They're not that. They're losing that quick thinking. He likes to go forward through to the striker, or go on his own, as he's been at Leverkusen. but instead, you know, you need to be going out wide really to how dare you to the two wingers, and you know, it isn't. I think it was predictable. I'm not shocked that they're doing badly. I'm not shocked at all.
I think also a big thing is obviously the Frimpong's come in and then he's been injured, and Bradley had his injury things as well. So having Szoboszlai having to play at right back as well has only meant that midfield has been more exposed, because I think him and McAllister. Well, McAllister was by far and away the least defensive minded of the three. Like Gravenberch and Szoboszlai are more of the defensive minded of the three, but they all did a lot of work in midfield. But having sort of one taken out in place of Wirtz, and then losing one of the three not in midfield because of Wirtz, and then having sort of Szoboszlai drop in and McAllister not really playing as much as well, you've ended up with other players in there, and suddenly again it's all about the balance. The balance is just so off with the team across, and I actually think Salah he's been obviously not as good as he has in previous years, and I actually think the 3 or 4 games that he didn't play in, Liverpool have looked their best. And I know that's rough to say.
I saw somebody say
that Champions League game against Eintracht Frankfurt. It sort of felt free flowing. Wirtz was at his best when Salah was out. Gakpo was at his best, but it just feels like it's sort of like they're stuck with this sort of like trying to fit everyone into the sort of different positions, like Szoboszlai right back, and like you said, and
it's sort of the logic of like that England midfield, like the old 2005-6 England, like that era midfield where you had Scholes, Gerrard, Lampard, and Beckham all trying to play the same role.
Super team almost.
Yeah, it's like they've got the players and they're trying, rather than picking a system that works with the most of them in, they're just trying to get all of them in any way possible.
Well, they fit Rooney in a wrong way as well. I don't think they played Rooney to his best. There's a bunch of players that they had to fit in so many players in that midfield that a lot of great ones missed out, but they didn't. They didn't prioritise the system over it.
We can argue the England squad for the Euros left for you. You know, you got Bukayo Saka playing left wing back again to accommodate Phil Foden, who hadn't scored or assisted in his last 47 England games. There's something wrong with that system.
It was better though. It was that was a better.
It's very defensive minded. I thought.
And I'm not saying it's a good fit, but you also look at who England had available. Who was going to play?
There was no natural left-footed
fullback. Who was going
to
play left back? The 3 or 4 contenders to play there was Saka, Trippier, and Shaw. And Shaw had barely played a game had barely played any minutes all season.
He had an injury-hit season that year,
and was unfit. Like there was no way he should have been in the squad at all. He was only in the squad because he's left-footed. I'd argue Lewis Hall should have been there.
Yeah, I do remember.
But got injured. Got injured, so wasn't available. Livramento could have been in. I know Newcastle had on. This was slightly before Lewis Skelly.
I mean, maybe as well they had Luke Shaw in there for the experience. I mean, let's not forget what he did in the 2018 Euros final. I mean, what was it, second minute?
2021. Well,
2020. Yeah, absolutely.
COVID final.
No, and I'm not arguing against him being in there necessarily, but I mean,
but he was terrible when he played as well.
That's what I mean. But it's not a good set of options when you've got a winger who should be playing on the right wing, a right back who's very right-footed playing at left wing back, and Shaw. And it's been a problem with always, because even that 2018 World Cup squad, you had Ashley Young doing that role, and he can do it. He's a right-footed winger. Like he did all right there, but it's the same thing as England have always, since Ashley Cole really, have lacked a solid left back.
And it feels like going into the 26 World Cup, we're gonna have that. England gonna have that problem again.
You're arguing now about if Kazuya Kinteze, you've got Hall if he can stay fit, who's probably the only sensible outright left back, because then your other options are like Jed Spence, and then you're talking again about Lewis Skelly.
I prefer him in the middle. To be fair, I think defensively, my criticism of Lewis Skelly is that he gets caught too many times. He can be poor defensively. He's not a natural left back, is he? No, I would really prefer him from an Arsenal head as well. I would prefer him in the middle, almost as like a 6 in a way, something like that. Just because I think he thrives better there than he does.
But also realistically, if he's going to get in the England squad, it's at left back.
He's going to have
a squad in midfield.
Because Elliot Anderson sort of nailed down for that CDM. Him and Rice in particular, sort of that number 6 and number 8.
I also think there are sort of better options than him anyway.
I know,
But that's what I mean. Is even now, there aren't that many great options. Maybe O'Reilly if he has a couple of good
Yeah.
games,
I
'cause
don't
just
think
been
he's
pulled up.
brilliant as
No,
people.
but-
Because we saw it with Rico Lewis, where he had one half good season, and everyone went, "Wow, he's brilliant." And he's been
And I
diabolical.
know in the Liverpool, Man City Liverpool game, there was a long ball to Salah, and he sort of just missed it. He got out muscled by Salah actually.
No, but it's still
And then-
like it's not whether they're good enough. It's who's best of a bad bunch. Are you going to end up
Yeah.
playing a right back at left back again?
I
or are
also
you
think
gonna go.
it's important to pick some of these young guys out, even if they're not your first choice, just to have them there so they can
Yeah.
start getting experience. So then when they do get to that level, they're not kind of thrown in the deep end.
The problem is as well, you can't play 3 at the back anymore. Because you see, like, if you play 3 at the back against Spain, and they've got Lamine Yamal on one side and Nico Williams. I mean, we played 4 at the back against them, and Kyle Walker still missed Nico Williams in the final.
You need
If you
6
play
at
3
the
at the
back
back
against
there,
Spain.
one of them is invariably going to absolutely take stretch. You know, especially if you've got one of your like outside centre backs being, let's say, Harry Maguire. He's not winning a foot race against Lamine Yamal, is it? It's like face it.
I do think it comes back to who your wing backs are though, in that case. Like if you're playing like
But
go
you do a
before, like the
3-4-3.
last one, if you're playing like the last Euros though, yeah, but if you're playing Trippier, he's going to get outpaced. If you're playing someone like Livramento, I mean, there's obviously Newcastle head again, but if you're playing Livramento,
I think he'd do a best right back.
Who?
Livramento.
Really?
Yeah, but he's sort of preferred on the left side, isn't he?
Well,
but like I said,
But
it
that's-
is
that's 'cause
the
Hall's
best to have a
injured.
bad bunch.
I genuinely think Newcastle's best team. The thing is, for the last sort of 16 months, all 3 haven't been fit at the same time. When all 3 are fit, Hall plays at left back and Livramento plays at right back or wing back or whatever. I don't think Trippier gets in the Newcastle team anymore, and he wasn't beforehand.
And because of age as well. Yeah,
But also just ability now. I think the other 2 are better than him, and are quicker, and I think are slightly better on the ball. They offer more going forward. They offer more going back. The only thing they don't have is that experience, and I just think that there's just the small case that England fall into the trap again of just fitting players into positions, and then that's your glaring weakness. I think
It depends what they go in the midfield. So let's say if you do a standard 4-3-3, you know, you obvious one is, let's say you do Bellingham as an advanced right, and then kind of a toss up really between your defensive midfielders.
Elliot Anderson.
Whether it's Elliot Anderson, Adam Wharton,
But then how do
whoever.
you fit a name like Cole Palmer?
But then definitely.
Yeah.
I'm going to be controversial here, and I think people like Foden and Bellingham, and I know they're very good, but the way the sort of players that England have at the moment, I think having one of them or even 2 of them in sort of actually upsets the balance. A bit like Salah has it, like we were talking about Salah. So you might be able to get away with picking one of them, but I do think there's a case.
It'd be
just-
Foden I'd drop. Personally, I think he's terrible for England. I've never seen. I can't recall one decent Phil Foden
I think-
performance for England.
I think with Tuchel as well, he's a lot more ruthless than Southgate in terms of making that decision.
I was going to make the exact same. I think Tuchel is going to be much more likely to prioritise the system over the big names. I think he'll be easier to put people on the bench. Like we saw Southgate, he played. Was it an injured Kane in the US final against Spain?
Yeah. And Watkins was firing.
I genuinely think if we had Tuchel in charge, he would have started Watkins.
Exactly.
And sure, if England had a loss to Spain, maybe people would have criticised that.
Yeah.
But
Is that?
I want the manager to take that risk though.
Yeah.
You don't want big names because big names won't just win you a tournament.
But is that not a case of like, I know it goes back a long way, but like when Ronaldo started in the World Cup final for Brazil, even though he's slightly injured, is that just not a case that at that point in time, even though Watkins was firing,
You've got that possibility they're going to do that one star.
Kane can do something and win you a match. I don't think Watkins can necessarily. He has his moments like he did in the semi-final, but he's not necessarily the player that, especially at international level, you think will conjure something out of nothing. Whereas Kane, you sort of think might do.
I think it is up to the manager to sort of figure out what is the best team, what is the best team for a given game. Whether England do go deep in the tournament, let's say Kane is like unfit and he's struggling, he's having a bad World Cup. I want Tuchel to be ruthless. And
I agree. I was just playing devil's advocate.
Yeah,
The
no,
thing
of
is,
course.
Like, it's obviously you can see why, but
Speaking on Tuchel, what we thought of is like obviously he took over in March. What we thought, I know qualifying games, obviously some of the teams haven't been the best, but what have we thought overall?
They've got better. That's for sure. Because
The goals, I think the goals have been an issue.
yeah,
have they though? Like they haven't actually faced any challenge.
the only issue.
And the only time they've really faced a squad, because they haven't conceded in a qualifier yet.
Which is it's still impressive either way.
It is, but the one game that you've had a team attack and have a go at that England backline. I know it was a slightly changed backline. Was when he played Senegal, and they got ripped apart for most of the game.
To be fair, I do think the floor line went again because England probably should have had a penalty that day, and then they didn't get it, and then scored straight afterwards.
But
I do agree, they were bad that day.
The only one time that a team has actually England, and this has always been the case with England, is in qualifying. A lot of the time, it's been fairly simple. Yeah. They've never been challenged in qualifying.
If they handed out trophies for qualifying, we'd have it all.
The squad looks good, and then they turn up at even 2016. That was probably one of the worst England tournament squads in a long while. They looked really good in qualifying, and then they rocked up at the tournament and were abysmal. And it's always the case with England. It's because European qualifiers can tend to be a bit easier because there's a lot of nations you're not going to face as many top teams. Whereas like South America, you have to play everyone. So if all the teams going to play each other, they get better. Because European qualifying is so big and it's so spread out. England will never face a really good team. They'll have maybe one or two, maybe 3-4 games in the
like Serbia and Albania for this group.
Yeah, who might pose them 1 or 2 threats a game, 1 or 2 credible threats a game. But like
when you come up against Spain, Germany, France, and all of a sudden you've got to step it up an extra notch.
Exactly. Yeah, and I don't know how well, because they haven't had that yet. I don't know how well a Tuchel side with England is going to cope with that. They might be brilliant at it. We don't know, but until they have that, that's all I'm saying is until they have that challenge faced, I don't know.
And I think there's even more pressure on Tuchel for this World Cup, given the fact that Southgate, he's gotten close so many times.
Yeah.
And it is sort of a similar system as to what Tuchel plays compared to Southgate. So there is that pressure to fire on the day. So I mean, like I said, time will tell, and we can only judge once the tournament begins.
Well, I feel like you mentioned before with old England's problem, I think Tuchel will avoid that because if he is willing to stop these big names and prioritise the system, his team will have a far better rotation. I mean, what sounds better? Trying to fit Palmer and Bellingham into the team at the same time, or being able to substitute off a Bellingham for a Palmer, being able to substitute off a Saka for a Foden, having these players ready to come off the bench, big names off the bench to bring in late impact, could just work a lot better.
I think if I'm Tuchel, this may be controversial. The issue England have got probably now for the next 5-10 years coming up, if one Harry Kane goes, there's no designated person to replace him. Ollie Watkins, he's alright, but let's face it, he's not brilliant.
And plus his age as well.
He's a bit older. Jay Stanfield,
start building someone
list the England strikers. Who else is that?
Yeah, I mean, Tony's in Saudi. He's not been called
in
for
Saudi.
a while.
Jay Stanfield's not up to it. You know.
And then you're talking.
You're gonna have to play.
Marcus
Rashford. Calvert-Lewin.
Rashford's preferred out wide, I'd say.
That's what I mean.
He's had a great season for Barcelona, so he could still be in the pecking
order. It's not
order.
a good look when your 5th name for a striker is someone who prefers to play as a winger.
Yeah. You're going to have to, I think the way you're going to have to do it, the way I would do it is Bellingham false 9. That would be the way that I do it. But even then,
if they already have a goal problem.
But like Germany did that as a preference in 2014. They played Ozil as a false 9 a lot of the time, but they still had closer.
Yeah,
they still had a strike. It was a tactical choice.
You need runners. You still need runners in behind, whether it comes from wide or in the midfield.
But when you're being forced to do that because you have no striker, you're in big trouble. I genuinely can't come up with a backup option.
There isn't.
And you expect England to have control possession in sort of games against the lesser team, so you do need that target man. So
that's the only way that if you play a false 9, at least you've still got somebody that's going to hold it up, kind of like how Harry Kane would do.
And you'll need the runners. I mean, the wingers are sort of an issue as well for me. I think.
You've got Saka on the right, but who plays on the left?
Yeah, Gordon. He's not in the best of form from Newcastle.
I just don't rate him that much.
Yeah, fair enough. Tuchel does because I know he started quite a few for England.
I think his pace carries him a lot more.
But I think Harvey Barnes is better.
And Barnes is nowhere to be seen.
No, but I'd rather he played for Newcastle than Gordon. I think Harvey Barnes plays better for Newcastle than Anthony Gordon does. And don't get me wrong, I'm happy there's more Newcastle players in the England squad or whatever, but I've never seen Anthony Gordon necessarily. It's like with all good players, they have their moments, and he does work hard. But then I just don't know whether because I've had to live through years and years of terrible Newcastle players who've never got near a national squad, but like it feels weird that first choice left winger is a Newcastle player.
But there isn't. To be fair, there isn't any other. No viable alternative. Eze's not being. Not set the world.
Eze's a 10, but then we've already got a Palmer, we've already got a Rodgers, we've already got Bellingham. So where's the room?
You're on about central players.
Being Foden. We sort of cramped in that sort of that number 8 to 10 role. So
you're looking at to say Rashford, but Rashford got question marks. There's nobody really. I don't think. I mean, Jamie Gitton probably the
That's
next.
what I mean, even now, you're throwing Barnes in as a number 5th or 6th option, and he doesn't start for Newcastle.
Yeah.
Because of Gordon.
I mean, essentially, they've got 2 more windows after this. So obviously, they've got the current last 2 games of qualifiers, and they've got the March window, and then the June window right before the World Cup. So I think the team we're seeing right now, the team we've seen in September, October, is pretty much final. Barring anyone gets injured or anyone goes on a run. Let's say Danny Welbeck has a 20-goal season.
But no, apart from Pickford in net, nowhere is really settled.
Yeah, Rice maybe in the midfield. I'd say
Rice and Anderson are probably your next closest shoe-ins, maybe Concert.
Centre. I was going to say Concert.
Who else plays?
Guehi maybe.
Yeah, he's.
But then is it Guehi or is it Maguire or is it Byrne?
He's picked Byrne a lot. This is what I mean. Is he playing 3? Is he playing 4? Who's your left back? Who's your right back? And I know it's good to have options, but even with a lot of teams that have,
you've got options, but they're not that good.
But also, they're options of a similar quality. Like
they're not guaranteed first team starter options.
Yeah, you go back through like the big World Cup squads. That 2010 Spain squad, like your left back was set, your right back was set, your centre halves were set. Your centre halves were set, but they still had 2 or 3 good backups that would get in a lot of other national teams.
I think the landscape of international football's changed as well.
It is almost like that Spain midfield now, though, because you've got like Pedri, Gavi, Zubimendi. I know I'm going to say Marino. Whether you play him as striker is another thing, and that's just a couple of the before you start delving into the other plethora. Gabi Vega's having a very good season at Portugal. I think he might play more wide, but they've got depth in every single position that is good.
Yeah.
Portugal are probably another that have that. Germany potentially, and France potentially. Maybe Brazil after that. But England, as you said, they have depth, but it's low quality depth.
England has a lot. I think England has a lot more depth than a lot of other nations, but not quite to the same sort of quality. Like they might have 3 or 4 people per position rather than
like Argentina. Let's say if you go to the striker, you've got either Lautaro Martinez or Julian Alvarez, and I know Alvarez can play in different positions, but you've got 2 world-class strikers there that can go up front.
Yeah.
You could argue maybe Sweden. I know they play 4-4-2, but they have a choice between Isaac and Gyökeres, and England don't have that. And I think if I put my money on the World Cup next year, I think it goes to one of the South Americans, Brazil or Argentina.
There is that trend, isn't there? Like,
when it's over that side, they tend to go to.
I know when it was in Qatar, sort of Morocco, this sort of
I'd be very surprised if Brazil get it.
Between them, at the moment, and with my money, I'd go Argentina because I think Brazil need to just kind of.
I don't see them going back to back. They're not as good as they were in 22.
I see Spain as just such a dominant force.
I think they're going to do badly.
But also look, it's not just that Spain won the Euros. Look at how they did it. I mean, England made it to the final. But when you look at their road to the final, look at the teams that they faced. They scraped through teams like Slovenia.
That's the England way.
It was teams that really, and England should be destroying. Whereas Spain, they had to go through France. Did they have to go through Italy? Germany? But it was big names. They had to face all
Germany,
the big
they got
teams.
the dodgy decision against them.
Anthony Taylor was the referee.
Spain had to fight a lot of the big teams. England had it fairly easy.
Wasn't actually very good though, was it?
Yeah, it was just because they were the home team. They're sort of like egging them.
I wouldn't rule Spain
when they face Spain, they obviously got
Germany could be an interesting one, but again, they need to kind of get their act together because you've got so many good players, Wirtz, Musiala. We've got the good, decent defence Mortamade as well.
It'll be a young squad.
And it'll be young, they've got Leonard Carl as well. They're probably going to get in it, let's face it.
Yeah.
Decent defence in Rudiger, etc. You've got probably Neuer again in the net.
Yeah.
One last time.
Like Germany were fine, but my only issue with Spain is they seem to be self-destructing again.
Because you've got all this stuff going on with
hand grenades at Spain. Spain are throwing hand grenades at Barcelona. Like they always seem to do this when they get towards a major tournament. Is they seem to have some sort of internal fight.
I remember, was it 2018 World Cup with Lopetegui? Then he joined Real Madrid, didn't he? Midway through.
But there's always something going on. It's like they all just hate each other.
But I think with their current coach, he came through the ranks, didn't he?
Yeah,
he coached the under 21s. I think it was just the under 21s, and then he gone straight, a bit like Southgate. So he sort of went into that culture.
Whisper it quietly though, is this Spain job now starting to build around Lamine Yamal?
Yeah, but that's my point.
And all of a sudden,
Flick-
I don't
Flick
think
seems
he's
to be
going to be
trying
as good this year as this season. Sorry, as he has been. I know he's been injured and whatnot, but there's a hell of a lot more to back you up. A hell of a lot more off-field drama going on with him.
Yeah.
Than there is, it's not like he's of a caliber yet. Let's say Ronaldo in Portugal, but even Portugal is starting to realise we need to move on from Ronaldo. You saw it in the last one. He only come on a couple of times because Carlo Ramos have been doing decent work for them. They could be the probably not dark horses. I reckon they'll probably be one of the favourites in Portugal.
Oh yeah. I mean, the Nations League one is to beat that Spain
But
team.
this is, you mentioned World Cup favourites being Argentina for you. You just mentioned Portugal then. This is exactly what I was going to ask you. Do we see Messi and Ronaldo in the World Cup? Could it be a swan song for them? Because Messi hasn't actually stated whether or not he'll be in the World Cup or not. He's been fairly.
I think they're
quiet
both.
about it.
Another question is Neymar. Will Neymar?
Oh, yeah, that's
Neymar, I
in
don't.
order of
see
appearance,
it.
Messi yes, Ronaldo no, Neymar no.
Neymar absolutely not. I wouldn't rule Ronaldo out that quickly. Though.
Just ranking the teams. I think Portugal. I think they have a slight edge over Argentina.
I can see Ronaldo playing a group stage game. Why not?
I don't think Neymar. Is he at Santos now?
He is Santos, but he's always injured.
Yeah, I don't think Neymar makes.
Neymar is always.
I think he's
injured.
past days, isn't it? I mean, it's a shame because obviously remember that 2014 World Cup, we had that horrific injury. And
Then he had a bad ankle one at PSG a couple of before he finished. That was what did him at PSG, I think.
He's a big what if, isn't he?
His worst injury is the Al Hilal one. He was out for a year. I mean, he was at the team for what was it, 2 years, and he played 8 games, if that.
Didn't he play the Olympics? I know he did the Olympics.
Yeah,
like,
2016.
Didn't he do that on like painkillers?
Yeah, something like that.
Because
Could that be the only thing?
Injury, but like because he missed the rest of the World Cup, he wanted to do the Olympics as one of the because it's under 23s or something.
Yeah.
And then do it as one of you can have like 3
senior players. Yeah.
And he did it as one of them, but like. I'm sure he got injured for was it PSG or Barcelona?
Yeah, I vaguely remember.
And then he basically just did it all on like painkillers every game. He's just getting injected before the game.
I mean, you think about all the players that it could be potentially their last tournament.
What about Norway? I don't know, a bit of a rogue shot because
Norway,
they've been doing unbelievable, and of course,
I mean,
there is the hard
they are basically qualified. They'd have to lose to Italy like 10-0.
Yeah.
I can see him being around a 16 team.
The thing is, it's a bit like with City. You take Haaland away, they look at average.
There are a couple of decent players in there.
Odegaard, they've got.
Wolfie decent.
It depends on who they draw, to be honest.
Yeah, that's another thing.
If they get 2 big teams in their bracket, they'll struggle to get.
I wouldn't want England to get them.
Like some of them are going to be sort of group of death. Obviously, like you always get them, but some of them are going to be really simple.
You have the likes of Cape Verde qualifying, potentially like Curacao. I mean,
this hunk of England going out in a group day against Cape Verde, like Iceland style.
It's possible. Yeah, it's possible. I mean, it's a lot more diverse in terms of countries we've never seen before, countries who've qualified after God knows how many years. So
that's what the World Cup should be, though.
I don't mind it. I don't mind it.
As possible.
And you want it to progress into more competitive as it goes on.
I do mind it though, because there's a stat or something. It's like there's like 70% of the games or 65% of the games are played to eliminate 33% of the teams or something. Like most of the group games.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
It's like most of the tournament is group games, and you only get rid of a third of the teams.
Yeah.
So what's the point?
But then I like the knockout football aspect because once all the groups are done,
there's a better way of doing it.
I mean,
48.
yeah.
If you do 48, there's a better way of doing it.
I mean, they're thinking of going up to 64, aren't they?
Yeah,
not for the next one, but the one after. So
I don't know. It'd even things out a bit.
No, because at the end of the day, let's face it. Spain aren't going to get knocked out by San Marino, or something like that, and they're not going to get knocked out by like Uzbekistan. I know they've got Kusanov and Samuridov, but like face it, they're not going to get knocked out. If they do get knocked out by that, then it's time to go.
Yeah, like I say, fans live for the upset, don't they? So,
and it does skew the history books as well because, like say Haaland or Ronaldo or Messi or whoever, again, no disrespect to Cape Verde, but Cape Verde, they stat pad probably like 7 goals in that game. All of a sudden, you've scored 7 goals at the World Cup. Versus where you've got like Klose, Pele, etc., who were playing decent teams.
England have 16. Wasn't that a World Cup of 16 teams when England won it?
Yeah.
66.
Oh yeah,
so,
it was
It's like,
North Korea got like into the semi-finals against.
It was like 2000.
No, in '66, North Korea. They were in that tournament. Yeah. There's that story. No, there's that story of like Nottingham Forest. There's like a North Korea support group because they played a game at Nottingham Forest's ground.
Kim Jong Un on it, were they?
Did you
Probably.
say they got to the semi-finals?
Yeah, no, I think they played Portugal and then they got knocked out. I'll have to fact check myself.
Oh, that must have been because England beat Portugal in the semi.
It might have been quarters then.
It must have been quarters. That's insane if it is.
But I agree with you. There's no point. I think it just fleshed out because it's America and you want to get a bigger audience because it's in America and all that crap.
I think it's also
Yeah, the only two World Cups they participated in 1966 and 2010.
Yeah, well,
I think America are definitely going to try and hype it as the biggest World Cup
Yeah.
ever. It'll be all the marketing. They'll make it out as if the World Cup's never been as big. Or
Should it be there?
Speaking of the USA, they look so mediocre.
yeah, it shouldn't be.
Their
hosted in
squad,
America.
their squad's very similar to the one in 2022, and even then they were very. It's like
It's Pulisic and Prey.
it's
But
just
like-
a bunch of players. Yeah,
But
it's
like
just
with Spain, they've got a massive internal fight.
yeah.
Like loads of the players.
Pochettino wants to return to the Premier League. Recently,
coach,
we've heard.
Coach doesn't want to be there. Lots of the players who play in Europe don't want to travel
Yeah.
back to play camps. They didn't play in was it the Gold Cup?
Yeah.
Or what
Pulisic
they
didn't play.
call-
Yunus Musa.
All of them.
Yeah.
All of them who played in Europe refused to go back,
Yeah.
especially the ones in Italy.
And they're sort of like backup players. They're not good enough. They're not competitive enough.
But the problem is the MLS players never get picked on camps because they pick all the ones who play in Europe. 'Cause
Yeah.
they're better.
Hmm.
But there's never because the ones who play in Europe, like Pulisic, and the ones who play for like Tyler Adams, who plays for Bournemouth,
Yeah.
is it McKennie who's at Juventus
Yeah.
still? Like they'll refuse to come back to the Weah.
Yeah, Tim
When-
Ream.
when-
Tim Ream. He was at
exactly.
Fulham. Yeah.
When they all refuse to come back over though, and the MLS players are picked for a camp, they still don't ever mix.
Hmm.
So there's never a
I can tell you a guaranteed one
Change
that will
of
get picked
talents.
for America is Kevin Sullivan. Just purely so then you can say they have a young wonder kid at their own World Cup.
yeah.
He might be going to City,
maybe
isn't
that's
he? Did he buy him City or is he linked? I don't know.
Isn't he at New York? Isn't he a
yeah.
New York player? So he's technically in their bubble.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's meant to be their
parent
wonder
group,
kid.
isn't it?
He's
Yeah.
meant to be their wonder kid, and I'm sure City bought him, but he's on a pre-thing, so he can only join when he's 18.
Yeah.
But they'll definitely pick him just purely so then.
Do
he
we
can
see
have-
one of the hosts making a run? I know Canada,
No.
Mexico.
No.
No.
Mexico will be your core and prey.
Honestly, I think Canada probably better than have a
Canada
better chance than the
possibly.
USA.
I was about to say Mexico stand the best chance. Mexico's the
Yeah,
best of the
and
three.
they'll have their group games at home most likely.
Yeah.
A dark horse could be Ecuador.
I really
Hell of
like
a lot of
Ecuador.
decent
I was about to say I think
What about Chile?
They're not qualified.
Do they not?
No,
No,
they
I
finished
thought they
bottom.
were
They
a
finished
slightly
bottom.
bigger
They got dumped
I think-
out.
I
I
think-
thought, okay.
I think Paraguay. They're not going to go far, but they have the potential to.
A
throw
lot
an
of the South
upset.
American teams, as we mentioned at the
Really
start,
Paraguay
like,
that beat Brazil.
Yeah,
in-
that's what I
yeah,
mean. Like
yeah.
they've been good in qualifying.
yeah.
Almiron
Ecuador
has been
finished
phenomenal
second.
in
Ecuador
qualifying.
finished second,
Yeah.
and just behind Argentina. So
And like, this is what I'm saying about qualifying in England a lot of the time is South America they all play each other.
it's
in
not as
qualifying. So
competitive.
they all, even though they might rest and change players and things and change squads and everything, they all play each other.
You've still
So
got that experience for coming up again, like
Yeah.
a large
Yeah.
amount
And conditions matter, like because they're playing in the Americas.
Yeah.
A lot of the South American players who play in the MLS and whatnot, they sort of they'll know the conditions. So
That's why invariably we said earlier when it is hosted on that side of the equator,
Yeah.
invariably one of them teams winning.
and we've seen with the Club World Cup in the summer, like players complain about the temperatures.
Yeah.
Will our players be adjusted to that?
Well, that's what I mean. There's an unknown still. What
Yeah.
time are they actually playing it? Are they
I think
committed to playing
it's
it
the same
today?
time as the
Are
Club
they-
World Cup, so it'll be in UK times. It'll be 5 p.m., 8
No, but I mean,
p.m.
Yeah.
what I mean is there were talk that they because obviously.
Oh
they-
yeah, we don't know that
They
yet.
started at like midday in America, so that
Yeah, midday.
European audiences could watch some of them. Some
Yeah.
of them finished at like 2
Anybody
in the
up for a
morning.
World Cup final at 3 o'clock in the morning?
But this is my point. Saudi Arabia, they moved it to winter and moved it really early in the night for like timing for the most
Yeah.
audience. But like with America, with the
No,
Club
no,
World
no,
Cup
no.
later on, they had a lot of complaints.
Yeah,
They moved it.
It'll be the
later in
same.
the evening for temperature,
Yeah.
but then suddenly Europe.
You're
all in
watching it
bed.
at like 3 in the
Games are,
morning.
yeah,
Yeah.
especially if you're in San Francisco.
as
and
sad as
Los
it,
Angeles
as it
and
is,
South
I
Coast.
think like what the TV deals, like the TV rights, get priority over players' welfare, which is sad. But I mean, that's just how the cookie crumbles. So we could see a World Cup final be played at midday, just so it is at like 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. UK or Europe time.
I think middle of the afternoon over there would be good.
Well, where is it?
It's
Is it-
still very hot though, because like it's
Like-
all over. It's West Coast.
Which coast is it on the final?
It'll be East Coast. It's in New Jersey.
Will Donald Trump hand over the
He
trophy? by the
was
Club
there.
World Cup?
Yeah, he was there.
Yeah.
He did it for
Yes.
Chelsea.
He will
So
probably kiss it first and
He'll-
inscribe his name on it in golden sharpie. I must say something.
Rename
that's
it to
not
the
live.
Donald Trump.
he'll
World
steal
Cup
someone's
trophy.
medal. Remember Madueke's
Yeah,
medal?
yeah.
Because Madueke just moved to Arsenal, didn't he?
There's another Arsenal player getting robbed.
Does it have names engraved? Do they have like?
For the medals, no. Medals just for whoever's there.
So he'll have club. He'll have like at least the thing. So he'll just have Club World Cup winner.
Yeah.
Somebody check on Wikipedia and the list of players that have won it. Is it have Donald Trump on the bottom of it?
I highly doubt
Why
it.
do you
You
want
never know.
that? Like, as a question, why do you want that?
Same colour as his hair.
He'll probably forget about it.
He'll get booed. Like, it's just how it will go. I mean,
Should it be in America? I don't think it should be in America.
I mean, people have had that argument with Qatar because obviously Qatar with the
Yeah, well, I didn't think it should be in
the
Qatar.
workers' rights in Qatar.
Let's face it, there was allegations.
Since
strong
2010, there
allegations.
has always been complaints. Obviously,
Yeah.
South Africa, there was workers' rights. 2014, Brazil, they're saying all the stadium conditions weren't
All
the
of
best.
them are white.
2018 with Russia, because obviously Putin.
Qatar, there was also controversy on
Workers'
stadiums
rights.
as well.
Realistically,
FIFA has the money; they can basically pick whoever they want.
but there are very few countries on earth that are never going to get that press.
Yeah.
Like
That is fair.
even Britain will get it. If Britain.
Oh,
hosts
yeah,
the
for
World
28,
Cup,
yeah,
like,
well,
if
'cause-
England, Scotland, and Wales banded together, and Northern Ireland.
But they're doing for the
banded
Euros,
together,
aren't they?
Ireland,
So
yeah.
is it the next Euros? I
Yeah,
think?
28, yeah. UK and Ireland.
The daft thing about it is as well now is that because no one wants to host it on their own, you're getting more and more like. Is it the next World Cup afterwards? Is it
It's Spain.
2030 Spain, Morocco,
Yeah.
Portugal?
Yeah, but the opening game, because it's like the 100th anniversary, it's going to be in Uruguay. And then it's going to be somewhere like
But
that.
I mean, that's an oddity of that. But I mean, in general, you're getting more and more host nations. It's fine with the World Cup when they're chucking loads of countries in. But if England are going to have to, is it?
Yeah, England couldn't do it on their own. It'd have to be with Scotland. They'd have to use Hampden Park. They'd have to use the Wales Stadium.
But England could host it on their own. Is what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, they could, but I don't think the stadiums are modern enough. That's why they built with the Hill Dickinson Stadium, obviously Tottenham Stadium back in
Spain
2020.
versus France at Kenilworth Road.
Yeah.
You say it's coming to
That's why stadiums like Old Trafford, obviously with the leakage and
Mhm.
whatnot, obviously they can't use Old Trafford
No, but
for an international
they
tournament.
don't use a lot of stadiums that they could use and would be used. Like they could use Twickenham and they refuse to.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
like,
true,
this
yeah,
is what
yeah,
I mean, is
yeah,
that
yeah,
they could go outside.
They only
their
go for
football.
football.
They never use St James's Park. St James's Park is up to code. They could use it.
Oh,
Like,
it is one of the ones for 2028.
Yeah, but it's never been on anything before.
Oh right, yeah.
Like in that
yeah.
regard.
Yeah.
Is
Like,
Wembley the final?
oh,
I'd assume so. Yeah, I'd assume so. It's Tottenham Stadium, Wembley, Everton Stadium, Villa Park,
I remember
Newcastle.
if it gets
St
expanded.
James's, yeah.
Yeah, for the England. Then obviously you've got Scotland, you've got Hampden Park.
Have you got? Is it Hampden? There's two in Glasgow. Is it Hampden and Celtic Park?
Yeah, and then I think one in Wales, Principality, and then one in Ireland, Aviva Stadium.
Yeah, we'll be
I think
in
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd be fuming about go back to the Uruguay thing, the first game in Uruguay. You'd be absolutely
Yeah.
livid
If you're
that
drawn
would
in
be-
that group
Yeah,
and
but
you have to play
it'll be
Uruguay.
Uruguay though, won't it? Uruguay.
No, but they'll have to play someone,
Is
won't
it
they?
not the,
So
the-
whoever's
the-
drawn
the-
in
Yeah.
that group,
Is it either the host or the reigning champion plays the first game normally?
Yeah, there'll be something daft like they'll draw it and it'll be Uruguay who play there.
Uruguay
That'd be
versus Cape Verde.
They'll do it like because like they can block out. They can because this is what I don't like about the draws is the way that it's done. Is it feels like it's even though it's not predetermined, it feels predetermined.
You
because
always
of all
have
the
one group a
permutations
day.
and
If England
stuff.
always get
Yeah.
like Serbia or somebody like that.
But like there are points like because you can only have one European nation in, or like maximum of two in a group. Like you can only draw at a certain point in the draw. You can only get certain teams, and it's like I've always been a thing of like the reason I love like the FA Cup or like the League Cup and things, domestic things is the draw is just a draw. They just pull people out of a hat.
You could get third round and
could
get like
any-
you might have to
absolutely
die.
anyone. Yeah. Like, and
Yeah.
Man City fans always complain, or Man United fans always complain, oh, we've got a hard team. Well, that's just a draw. It's because when they get European games, they get easier draws. But when they get domestically and they get drawn against a Premier League team, they complain. But that, like, I'd love it if the World Cup just did a random draw and you got Brazil, Argentina, England, and Spain
Yeah.
in the same group.
I
Like,
think
that's
we all
the
know
look of
who'd
the draw.
definitely be going out in that group.
It would upset any of the teams
Oh,
that
see-
went out in it, but
yeah.
obviously it would add more of these upset stories where a lot of these small teams would get further. I mean, but there's the thing that we lack in it. Like you look at the FA Cup and competitions like that, we get a lot more upsets. I mean, this season I think we saw was it Grimsby upset United and knocked them out. Last
Yeah.
time we had
Good
Plymouth
watch.
knock out Liverpool.
Yeah.
Yeah, this FA Cup last year. But there's like,
I think it's different with domestic and international though,
Yeah.
because I think
Domestic
international
you can throw in.
with the groups you sort of have to have like a range of continents, like
Yeah.
Yeah, but that always
like two
baffles
European
why.
teams, one South American, one African. It's like I said, it's just a procedure. And like
Well,
I said, I
if
think
they- if they made it-
if it was
I know,
mixed
but
up,
why? Like, there isn't ever like every time anyone gives a reason
yeah,
as to why that's the case, other than because it's spread around. I don't see why that's a good enough reason to do.
I mean,
that.
that's how they
well,
see
you
it.
risk
Though.
some teams just automatically going through. I mean, if you just do it by continent, like you're going to have all the big teams in that area.
If let's say there's one group just for the African teams, like Morocco licking their lips.
Look at the draw, though.
Yeah.
They all know who they're going to be playing. Like,
Mexico going through in America, you've got
Yeah.
Australia and Oceania.
I know why they do it. Well, Australia's now Asia, isn't it?
Yeah, they're part of Asia.
But
Well,
I know why.
So
they
it's
do
New
it.
Zealand that's in.
I know why they do it. Though.
Oceania.
It's because like they want the big teams towards the end. Like they don't want Cape Verde getting through a really easy group.
Yeah.
And
I
getting
bet
to
they
the
were praying that
quarterfinals.
Morocco-
There is a system to it, yeah, like you said.
Like there is a reason behind it, but I also sort of think, well, but then if there's an upset in the group, you get that anyway. Why can't they get through an easy group and then do the upset?
Why
in the
not? Japan
semi-final?
nearly got through for like we were 8 minutes away from Japan knocking out Spain. Which Spain and Germany?
Yeah, Costa
Belgium.
Rica. Yeah, it was Costa Rica.
Belgium.
No, in the last World Cup. So Spain and at that time, Spain and Germany would have been knocked out, and Costa Rica and Japan would have gone
Oh yeah,
through.
it was that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
sorry, I thought you meant 2018.
No,
they
no,
were like
no, yeah,
25
they were.
seconds away from.
Yeah.
beating
Oh yeah,
Belgium
again
in the
Belgium.
last
Yeah.
16.
But yeah.
So in Japan though, we're trying to knock people out. What the heck? So if we get drawn against Japan in this now, we're
Wait.
cooked.
You lot talking about Uruguay made me think of one last topic, and it involves a lot of these players in MLS. So we have Jordi Alba retiring, Busquets retiring. We've recently heard Messi's got his new contract that he's re-signed till end of 2028. Now, Luis Suarez, the Uruguayan, his contract, of course, runs out at the end of this season. He's yet to re-sign. He hasn't made any public statements about his retirement. Do you think it's time for him to retire? I personally think. I mean, we heard, similar to what you were saying about Neymar, he was in a lot of pain while playing, even at Gremio. So him going to Inter Miami was a bit of a surprise, but surely another season doesn't seem that feasible. What do you think?
He'll stay for the World Cup and then call it a day. There's no, I don't see why a player would retire
I
straight.
think
Even in the squad.
he's retired. I think for
Yeah,
international
he's
because
retired.
he played Copa America in 2024
Yeah,
and then he
he's
retired.
retired.
That was the last tournament.
I think he'll go. I think he's done in America. I'll be
Well,
honest.
but
He'll be
I-
done.
it's
I
time,
can see
it's
him
time
going.
to go. Maybe he goes back to like.
It'll be once Messi leaves, he
But
leaves.
he's
It'll
already-
be like that.
It's weird because he's already done his one last time with Gremio, and then it felt like he could have retired there,
Yeah, but he can go back.
just
to,
like Neymar at Santos, but then he
But he
extended
wanted-
it by going to Inter Miami.
Yeah, but
They
if he
wanted
doesn't
to-
retire
there.
Uruguay, he'll go back to Uruguay.
Yeah, did he not like
Yeah.
Penarol or well, like, whoever he
Go
started
to
with
Montevideo
Nacional?
or
For how long?
Oh,
Yeah, he only do like
Probably
A
and then
year or two?
then he'll
No,
just
he's
decide
in
to
pain.
be with
But
his
then,
family and kids.
I think
so.
Inter
but you're-
Miami was praying at the time to try and let Messi, Neymar, Suarez back up again, but then it never worked. So probably why that went Pete Tong, I think.
But like, I think he'll want to go home. Like, a lot of players do that. Is they go back for a year or two to
They
do
know.
their first club or just another club in their own country, and then they play a year out. Especially South Americans tend to do a lot.
Yeah,
Brazil,
yeah.
It's a lot of Brazilians and Argentinians, and
Messi was rumoured to go back to Barcelona. Like, I was reading it the other day
yeah,
because he
it's
did some
always-
random post or something like
So
that.
it was,
but-
it was the post of him in Camp Nou. I believe he was invited to go there, but he turned him down and then went in by himself. Like he didn't have the proper permission because there's still that fallout from when he originally left the team. But it was kind of up to interpretation what that post meant.
It read to me kind of like a come and get me.
No, I think once Camp Nou gets unveiled, or the new Camp Nou does, he'll be one of like the faces of it.
But they want
They'll want him as
they,
one of the
they
faces.
want him to do a game. They want like a special game with him there.
It'll be
Similar
like
to how
like I say,
Saudi
it'll
want
be
these
it'll be like a
special attraction
pre-season
games.
or like it won't be anything
I
major.
can see Inter Miami coming to Europe to mid-season.
Yeah. Oh, actually, whilst we're on international football, we were on international football. Spain, Argentina, and like the Finalissima in March.
Forgot about that.
What are your
Yeah.
thoughts on that? I know
I personally back
Argentina played Italy the last time, so
Where
I
do
think
they,
I go
it's the winner of the Euros against winner of the
I'm
World
familiar
Cup.
with what it is. Where does it take place?
Last one was in Wembley. I'll check for you. now.
Because
It's at Wembley, is it not at Wembley?
Yeah, it's
it possibly, but
I
I'm sure it is.
personally am going to go for Spain.
I think Argentina.
no, it's in Qatar. Where they
Yeah,
played the
of course it's
final,
in Qatar. I
Lusail
read it
Stadium in
now.
Qatar, where they played the final.
It's usually where one of the last.
World Cup.
Yeah. It's sort of
would make
replaced the Club World Cup for countries.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
James, who are you taking? Spain, Argentina?
Can I be brutally honest and just say I don't care?
That's fair.
If you had to
Like,
pick one, come on.
to
if you had
be
pick one.
fair, that makes sense. You care who wins the Champions League. Do you win who wins the Super
Yeah.
Cup?
No,
Not
like, I
really.
like I also don't.
Well,
Like,
as long as it wasn't Tottenham that one time, this time, I was.
but
I was
I've
That
always-
would have been
they
funny
said-
though.
Don't get me wrong, like it's because it's historic. Like the Community Shield is historic, but I get why, and I like it because it's historic, not because of what it is.
Yeah.
Like,
It's,
I wanna
it's
keep
only
it
got
because
a
it's historic,
bit of
but-
rep now because you've got teams like Crystal Palace, for example.
No, but what I mean is I've always liked the fact it's historic. I've never
Yeah.
liked the game as a principle.
I like that
don't
all these
like-
Super Cups exist, but realistically, as a trophy, it's not really something that you
No.
consider because it's a trophy that you've
But like
got a 50% chance of if you win the other one.
The
So.
UEFA Super Cup's daft because that's like the Premier League winner playing the Championship winner.
Yeah.
Like that's the
Yeah.
logic I put to that one. It made it slightly more sense when you had Champions League teams being knocked out, so you could at
Yeah.
least have a Champions League team against a Champions League team. If like
Yeah.
like when you had Atletico Madrid play Real Madrid in it one year because Atletico won the Europa League or something like.
I'll play devil's advocate. I think it's nice in a way because you don't often get to see a European team against a South American team, unless it is a
Fair
World
point.
Cup or a major tournament.
I think
so,
it'd be funny if they did it. So imagine this: Champions League team, they automatically make this Super Cup. Europa League winner faces the Conference League winner to play the Champions League winner.
And then you got Bodo Glimt playing. No, actually, no, I wasn't.
That would be
Bodo
hilarious.
Glimt.
Then you could have a Wi-Fi password facing PSG.
You've got Noah FC versus.
I mean,
PSG.
knowing UEFA and how obviously they like the money, they probably
it's an
would.
extra
They
game
probably
for
would
them.
organise that. Yeah,
What they'll do
exactly.
is they'll do a thing where they play a group of 3 and then the top 2 go through to a final.
Oh yeah.
Chuck the AFC.
They'll
one in there as well.
squeeze
Get
every
Al
bit of
Hilal
the
in there.
players.
But I just think what you said about you don't often get a South American team play a European team. That's what the beauty of the World Cup is.
Yeah, I
You
guess.
play
Yeah.
nations you never played before, and this is why I hate the Nations League and all this. There's just too
Yeah.
much football. Like you used to have the Euros, and you'd get a couple of European teams. You'd play like Slovenia or Slovakia, maybe in a qualifying group once every 4 years on rotation, and so you'd get a lot of different teams, but you'd only meet certain nations at major tournaments, and that was the beauty of the major tournaments. And now I think there's so much football that you just don't. It's just
The Nations League can go. If the Nations League if it came up now, the Nations League being grabbed, I wouldn't.
The only important matches for international football should be qualifiers, like qualifies for a European Championship, or qualifies for a World Cup. Any extra should just be get rid of.
Like the only hype about the Nations League was the final because it was Spain with Yamal versus Portugal and Ronaldo. That was the only bit of hype about it. If it wasn't that, nobody would care. I don't remember.
I think-
I actually argue that the most important games in the Nations League are not the big final showpieces because they don't actually do anything. It's like the B tier groups that like where Scotland play and they get a qualifying pass or they get an automatic spot for a qualifier against someone else. They're the big games because it gives Scotland and nations of that caliber another chance to qualify for a major tournament. However, that's only possible because there's now a stupid number of teams in the major tournament, and I just think it's got to a point where. Yeah, you get more teams at major tournaments, but qualifiers don't mean anything anymore.
Because you're going to
Nations
find a
Leagues-
way to get in there somehow.
Basically, it's harder not to qualify than qualify, as was before. Like England would have to have some sort of crazy failure across the board for them not to make a major tournament, and that's that. Like, was it 40, 50 years ago now? England didn't qualify. Was it 76? England failed to qualify.
Yeah, I think there was some
Or
more
might be
more
70
recently as well.
74.
Euro 2008 they didn't qualify.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
like also 74, they went from world champions in 66 or something.
Yeah,
they
yeah,
were terrible in 70, but qualified as hosts, and then didn't make it.
I mean,
because
you
of
you think of
16
Italy.
74.
Italy, they
Yeah,
won
yeah.
in 2006.
Yeah.
Got out of the group stage 2010. Got out of the group stage in
Didn't make
2014. Didn't make 2018. Didn't make
So then
2022.
the
They
Dutch-
probably won't
The
make
Dutch didn't-
26.
The Dutch didn't make it either.
Yeah,
Like you don't get
yeah.
things like that anymore. Where nations, the fact that other countries have qualified, like the fact that Sweden were there in 2018, was because they'd out-qualified the Dutch or the Italian. It was one of they out-qualified one another.
Yeah.
You don't get that.
They're
anymore.
there on merit and not there on the
Yeah.
basis that you've won some crap thing
Or the
to
fact
get
that
through.
they're just not a small nation, because it's basically if you've got a population over 500,000, you're going to qualify in Europe. If you've got a population over 500,000, you're going to qualify for a major tournament.
Except for Iceland 2016, but as England fans, we don't talk about that.
No, but as in like others will.
Yeah, no, I get you.
Like San Marino close to qualifying.
No.
Well, they have an option. They have,
won that one game.
even if they finish bottom of their group, they'll be in the qualifiers,
Yeah.
This is
playoffs.
This point exactly.
And it's
That's
because of the
point.
Nations League. Because the Nation League incites sort of these stupid scenarios that shouldn't be here in the first place.
I mean, I do think San Marino winning, everyone except for the team they beat, everyone will love it. everyone would cheer. I mean, they're such a fun team in the fact because they won recently for the first time in however long.
Yeah, they'd be yeah. That's what I say. They top their Nations
Huge
League group.
win.
That's why they've got that option that even if they finish bottom of their World Cup qualifying group,
Yeah.
they have a chance of being in the playoffs.
It's pointless.
Yeah.
Do we think that is everything for today, or do you have any last words?
Predictions for England, Serbia.
3-1 England. I reckon we'll league.
Clean sheet, 4 goals.
I'm going to say comfortable 2-0. I'm going to say Declan Rice and Harry Kane.
England will score more goals than they will have shots on target against them.
Okay. I mean,
I was going to go the same as you, Bilal. I think England get 2. Whether they concede or not, I don't know. I could see it being 2-1, but I could also see it 2-0.
Yeah.
But thank you for listening to the Phoenix FC podcast. Hopefully the next episode won't take as long to come out. Everyone's links should be down below. Don't worry, none of them are subscription sites. However, Keiran might be starting an OnlyGrams at 10 billion subscribers. So make sure to subscribe now so we can make that happen.
We weren't meant to leak that yet, for God's sake.
Goodbye.